You guys did a really good job, I thought, in the documentary. It's blending the science with the personal stories, right? You have the doc, you have the personal stories. The personal stories are quite, impactful. Were there any ones that stuck out to you that, really kind of just jolted you or got you to really stick out and think about, what's going on?
I think for me, Evan's story
Mm,
was really powerful. And like there were even aspects of his story that we could have included that would be even more shocking than what is even in the documentary. And so his story was particularly painful in that how it was impacting the whole family and especially him. He was a little bit older, and so he was obviously really struggling with how he felt after he had these episodes, and he it was consuming all parts of their life, and she was really concerned about his future. And then to see him now, once again, he's a really really bright child, and eliminating dyes helped them pinpoint, what was really going on and how to really, really help him. And now he can live a life that is going to be, that's going to continue to be a really, really good life. Whereas you look at the trajectory of all of these children that we interviewed, and it looked grim. And like that's what, and even that's what we were worried about as we were looking at our child. Like what, and I was, and I waver. I go back and forth between wanting to homeschool and like putting my kids in public school. We have a wonderful STEM school. My son's in a German immersion program. He's in the gifted program, so we're really rooted. But before we did the elimination diet, I was really wavering sending him to public school. And I had just accepted that I'm going to have to homeschool him to protect other kids and to protect him from being in situations where, this is not going to be okay. We're really going to be really put through the ringer if this continues. And so to look at how he's thriving now is just crazy.
I think for me, um, I think Rebecca's story with her son, uh, to
Oh,
hear
yeah.
a 7 year old that's suicidal and things like that. That we didn't. I mean, obviously we knew that once we saw her TEDx talk. But like that's not something we'd never even thought
And we've
about.
heard that from several families. I think that is the story most people identify with. And we didn't expect that. I mean, to hear of a suicidal child, like that's something
mhm.
I've never heard of. And so once the documentary came out, we had so many moms saying this was our story. Our child was suicidal before we cut dyes, which is like that's insane. But then you think of it, and synthetic dyes are a chemical. Chemicals impact us all differently, just like medications impact us all differently. And so it really can have such a dark impact on these children.
Yeah, I was going to say that these types of introducing different chemicals to a growing small body, it's going to look different in everyone too.
Mhm.
That's why it's a little difficult to be like one to one what exactly happens if you introduce. Some
Exactly.
children may not have anything exhibit right now.
Right.
Maybe later in life, some health complication arises from somewhere, whereas some right away have, a very profound. So it's not a one-to-one sort of relationship that most of science wants to prove and say, hey, but that child looks fine. It's not that
Right.
then. Of course it can be, right?